put in. And this is going back at least a year and a half. Okay? So I'm not abusing this car in any shape or form. I haven't had a chance to. You know, I've barely put any mileage on this thing. I drove it over to Robert. I work offshore. And I step off over in Robert, Louisiana. I had to bring it back on a fucking tow truck. Okay? Now, I've talked to Lenati, and I would really like to talk to you guys at Morel to get some information, because number one, I don't know what kind of oil I should use, what the true preload is. Am I using the proper pump? Should it be high flow, high volume, low pressure? Who knows? But right now I run about 55 psi at idle at 800 RPM, so I'm guessing that that's just fine. You know, I even removed the bypass plug out of the oil pan when we did the DOD delete here about 3 weeks ago, and no change. But anyway, I want to go through the steps so you understand what I've done. Because after this, I'm taking you to court, I'm taking Morel to court, because I've put a lot of time and labor into this. You know, not counting the lifters that Morel sent back to me that I can't even use. You know, they're totally disassembled. The link bars are not on them, and I'm missing all my retainers to them. I was told that they were filthy dirty. Well, I guarantee you I could take these to any speed shop in the city that's even halfway reputable, and they're going to look at them and go, okay, if they were so dirty, show me the score markings. Because I've inspected them. I opened up one package that you sent back and looked at all the components and looked for any kind of wear, any kind of scoring, and there's nothing, even on the outside or the inside. But I can't assemble them. I can't put them back together. They're absolutely useless to me because of two things. One, you didn't give me no retainers back. And number two, in order to assemble them, the link bars either have to be riveted or some type of mechanical process stamped back into place. I don't know. Obviously, I can't do that here. You know, and if I did, it probably wouldn't be very reliable at high RPM and probably destroy my motor. So they're useless. They're just sitting there. I've been in surgery. I've had several surgeries. This is the first time I've had a chance to open them. Well, anyway, they're useless on top of this. Now let's get back to what we're talking about here. Okay. As you can see, that has a lot of play in it. I'm going to back that all the way off. No pain. I'm going to have to zoom in a little bit. And if I cover it up, I apologize because of the fuel rail. But yeah, I'm going to back it out all the way, and I'm going to go through the procedure of what I did and how I figured out what I was supposed to do. Excuse me. That's not supposed to happen. Luckily, I have my handy magnet. Anyway, there you are. Nice. Okay. Now, we're going to run this out all the way. Okay, we're going to start from the beginning. And I'm going to go through my procedure of finding rod length and checking lash. Okay, now, we're backed out all the way. All the way up against it. Okay, as you can see now. When I first received these rockers and everything like that, I knew my rod length was going to change. That's a given, no doubt about it. Well, my rods came out to be 7.1 inches, which is an unusual rod length for this, of course. I mean, I don't think I know of anybody running that size. But this isn't your atypical package deal that you buy from Livernor's or whoever. But anyway, so in order to find my rod length, I have no idea what it is now, especially with these things installed, because it's very, very hard. You can't get your fingers in there like you could with the old SBCs. Anyway, what do? I set my 0 point. Very simple math, but set my 0 point. Now, one full turn of these, just like the rod checker, is 50 thousandths. So what I did is I turned it in before I even knew my rod length. So I turned it 1/2, 1 in. Okay, now, the reason I did that is just in case my rod, let me zoom out again, just in case my rod length was a little bit long or a little bit short, that gave me a little bit of clearance play, gave me some clearance, you know, just in case my rod length come out on a high side of a number or a low side of a number. You guys understand. I don't have to explain that to you. So, at that point, I go get my rod checker, right? Now, it's graduated. And I trust it, you know, but also I check the rod length with this. I'm sure we all know what this is, okay? Well, the CompCam's rod checker, you know, is 50 thousandths a turn. So meticulously I check it, I run it in, and it comes out 7.1 inches. Well, you know, it's an odd length, so like I said, I double checked it with this and it came out true. Now, that was with the 50 thousandths run in. Like I said, you don't want to have these things, you don't want to set your preload with those all the way out, because it gives you no room. You know, should something go wrong or anything, you run that 50 thousandths in and it gives you a little buffer zone, you know. Well, I was also told you don't want to go no more than about 5 turns in, because you'll cover up the oil galley passages. These actually have passages in them that spray this and lube the needle bearings in there. Very, very efficient. Okay, that's all good and tight. So, like I said, I ran it in 50 thou. Set my rod length according to that. Okay, so at 1 turn, basically, I should be at 0 lash. And these ones here, the other ones, they are. If I turn them off on the base circle and let them pump back or bleed back up again, pump back up again, okay, you can take any one of these, back it off, let it pump up, run it back in 1 full turn, and you will hit 0 lash. Okay, and then from what I've heard, and I've talked to Morel, or not Morel, but Lunati several times, and I always get different answers. I've got all the way up to 100 thou preload on these things, and I know that's not right. Not for these high-speed lifters. You know, I pretty much figured that it was around 10 to 20 thou. Okay, so at 0 lash at 1 full turn, if I give it a quarter turn, that's 12 thou preload, which is within spec. You know, I could go a little more if I wanted to, just to be on the safe side. I erred on the low side just in the beginning, just to be safe. You know. Well, anyway, if I were to do that, I should hit 0 lash in 1 turn. Okay, I'm gonna see if I zoom in. It might be a little hard for you to see. I might end up getting in the way a little bit. I'll try not to, but make it clear. Okay, I'm going to do this properly. Okay, there's one. There's fully backed. So at 1 turn, I should see 0 lash. So we go to 1 turn. Right there. Okay, now it should be about like that one right there. Let me see here. Oh, you can't really see it, but it should be about like that one right there. Right? No problem. But if you look at 1 turn, we've got all that. Now let's go a quarter turn, which should have been my preload at 12.5 thou. Basically about right there. Not even in the neighborhood. So we go a quarter turn. Now we'll give another quarter, which would be 1.5 turn. still no good. So we go, it's a little high, but another quarter turn, that should be about right there. Still nothing. Now one more quarter turn should get me right on it, but there it is right there. Just off. Zero lash. Right there. Bingo. Okay. There you go. That's not to mention the other side is having problems too, which in my other video I predicted, and it is. This side's a lot worse though. Like I said, this engine has never seen over 4,000 RPM yet. Now, valve train geometry, as far as that goes, is proper. Okay. I have this here. What am I going to do with it? Right here. This is an installed height checker that came with comp cams. Okay, and basically what that does is it checks your shaft installed height against your spring installed height, and if there's a variation. If there is a variation, you're either going to have to shim up the shaft, mill down the base of the head where the shaft rests, change the height of your spring, something or other. You understand? Okay. Well, I removed one of the rockers and checked just against it, and it was absolutely perfect. Okay, so my valve train geometry is good. There's nothing wrong with it. I've done this for a long time, but for some reason, Lenati, Morel, you guys don't have any means of getting back with me, I guess. You don't want to contact me. I've told Dave at Lenati for you guys to contact me at Morel, and I suggest whoever gets this, if you don't, you need to pass it on to them, because my lawyer said there's no reason why we couldn't take you to court once a week and make it real expensive for you. What I'm looking to do is I want one of your reps out here to come out here and set these. I'll buy a whole new set, and if he tells me I did something wrong, I'll pay for it. And I'll pay for the labor. I'll pay for his flight or whatever. If there's a local rep around here who knows how to set these up accordingly, I'll pay for it. Okay. This has cost me a lot of labor on my own. If I was to put a price tag on my labor to do this shit, it would probably be around $5,000 on top of what the parts cost. I'm already out $1,000 because I had to pay an extra $300 for a set of bank set of lifters. And the ones that you returned me, again, like I said, aren't even usable. Okay, this isn't the way to run a business. Okay, I'm not NHRA, but I've probably spent over the course of my years hundreds of thousands of dollars with Lenati and other companies. Not just for me, but for people whose cars that I've built. Okay, all I'm looking for is a little bit of reliability here. I've got $18,000 in the bottom of that engine that I don't want to screw up. And it's all built for reliability, and that's what I thought this was built for, but obviously it's not. And if I have to go and I take those lifters out and I put LS7 or CTS lifters in it, and the ticking goes away and they hold up, obviously I'm going to sue you even further. So I want an answer. This is your last chance. I work for Shell. We keep people on retainers. We keep lawyers on retainers. I pay about $80 a month for that. And I pay nothing for lawyers. Absolutely. So it's going to get expensive for one of you or both of you.